Greeting learners. Arrays are a very powerful and useful data structures which almost every programming language has in some or the other form. In this lesson, we should be understanding arrays as available in C programming language. You need to have a good understanding of pointers before you start with this lesson. Pointers have been covered in another video. You may refer to them if required. The lesson begins with setting the context of array requirements and moves on to the state various styles to declare arrays. Array subscripting operators, which are used to access the array elements, are discussed next. Regular arithmetic operators, when applied over pointers, behave differently. This is taken up in the section titled Pointer Arithmetic. The next two sections are somewhat interrelated. The first of them presents and explains memory layout of array element, which is essential to understand many of the array operations. The second one explains the internal working of array subscript operators. Many times we may need to pass large chunks of data to function. This is done by packing them into array and passing the array to the function. This mechanism is explained in the concluding section of the lesson. Let us start understanding arrays, one of the most useful construct of C programming language, by setting the context of its usage. Consider a very simple problem of finding the average of marks obtained by 5 students. The marks are to be provided by the user. This program implements this problem. Nothing fancy about the program. It begins by declaring 5 variables to store the marks input by the user, goes on to seek and store the marks, and finally calculates and print average. This program has successfully handled a case consisting of just 5 students. Imagine a scenario of a class having 100 students. This case is more real than a hypothetical class of just 5 students. With the above mentioned approach, which makes use of variable to store the marks of the student, your code will blow out of proportion. Thankfully, the C programming language comes with a special provision to handle large chunks of data by making use of a single variable. They are called arrays. This is an alternate implementation of the same problem which makes use of arrays. You should be able to see that the 5 float type variables have been replaced with a single array type of variable. If the number of students goes beyond 5, you just need to declare the number within the square bracket following the array name. In this lesson, we are all set to discuss everything about arrays, and we will start by presenting a formal definition of arrays. Arrays can be defined as collections of homogeneous type of data stored at contiguous memory location. This definition brings out two most important aspects of arrays. Number 1, they are capable of holding homogeneous type of data only, and number 2, the data is stored at contiguous memory locations. Like other variables, the array need to be declared and defined before they can be made use of. And similar to other variables, the style of array declaration, definition and initialization depend upon the scope. This is the general structure of declaring an array. Declaring an array requires declaring the data type of the elements which are supposed to be stored in the array, the name of the array variable, and the size of the array enclosed within a pair of square brackets. The size of the array is actually the number of elements of the declared data type which the array is expected to hold. For example, this statement declares a float type array named myArray which hold 3 float type elements. Let us discuss each component of the array declaration statement one by one. It should be recalled that components of array declaration depend upon the scope in which the array has been declared. We will be discussing the components of array declaration statement in the context of block or file scope. We are starting with the array name. The name of the array follows the established conventions and rules applicable to identifier naming. Identifier naming conventions and rules have already been discussed in an earlier video. For example, these names are perfectly legal array names, and these names will not pass even the compilation stage. We have discussed one element of the array declaration statement, which is the array name. The other two elements, data type of the array and the size of the array, depend upon the scope where the declaration is made. While declaring an array in a file scope, data type as well as array size are optional. If not specified, the compiler assumes data type as integer and array size as 1. But this is certainly not a good practice, and it is always a good idea to declare the data type as well as the array size explicitly. On the other hand, declaring the data type as well as the size of the array is mandatory if the array is being declared in a block scope. The size of the array can also be specified by making use of an expression. It should be noted that only constant expressions are allowed in file scope, whereas the block scope tolerates constant as well as other expressions too. If you are specifying the size of an array using an expression in the file scope, the expression should be a constant expression. For example, these are valid array declaration statements at the file scope, whereas these array declaration statements will not work in the file scope. Since block scope tolerates all types of expression, any expression can be used to specify the size of the array. For example, these statements are valid array declaration statements. Please refer to an earlier video on expressions to understand them better. We have seen that defining variable in file scope is merely definition. That is, the compiler does not allocate memory for the variable, whereas declaration in a block scope is equivalent to definition. That is, the compiler allocates memory for the variable defined in the block scope. The same rule is applicable to arrays too. In order to understand the difference between definition and declaration, please refer to the video on variables. Declaration of an array in block scope is equivalent to definition, whereas declaration in a file scope is merely declaration. Like variables, arrays can also be initialized while being declared. And like variables, initializing an array while declaring it amounts to defining it irrespective of scope, which means that the compiler will allocate memory for the array. This is the general syntax of initializing an array while declaring it. On the left hand side of the assignment operator, array name and array size is declared. We have already seen and discussed these three entities. On the right hand side, the list of initializer elements enclosed within a pair of curly brackets is given. For example, this statement declares an array with the name of myArray, which is capable of holding 3 integer type elements. The expression on the right hand side initializes the first, second and the third elements to 23, 12 and -5 respectively. This figure is the conceptual representation of the situation after the above statement is executed. You can see 3 horizontally stacked boxes holding 23, 12 and -5 respectively. 23 is in the first box, 12 is in the second box and -5 is in the third box. With this figure in mind, it is not difficult to imagine accessing an element of an array through the number of boxes in which it is kept. We will very shortly discuss how to access array elements. Few important points about this style of initializing arrays while declaring it should be understood and noted. If we are declaring and initializing an array at the same time, the array size can be dropped from the declaration statement. Compiler will infer the size of the array from the number of the initializer elements provided. For example, the previous statement can be rewritten like this. If the data type of the initializer statement is not compatible with the data type of the array, the compiler will implicitly cast the initializer element into the declared data type of the array. In this example, the third initializer element, which is float, will be casted into short type before getting stored at the third location of the array. This casting is done because the array has been declared to hold short type data. The initializer elements can be even expressions. It should be noted that only constant expressions are allowed in file scope, whereas block scope allows only for any kind of expression. For example, this piece of code declares an integer array of size 3 and initializes its third element with a constant expression. This piece of code will work both in the file scope as well as in the block scope. And this piece of code does the same thing but does not make use of a constant expression. Contrary to the previous example, this piece of code will not work in file scope but will work in the block scope. For a detailed discussion on expressions and various scopes available in a C program, please refer to the videos on expressions and scope. What happens if the array declaration statement explicitly declares the size of the array and the number of elements provided in the initializer list does not match the declared size? We will discuss the answer to this question by considering two cases. First case, when the declared size of the array is less than the number of initializer element, and the second case is opposite of the first case. Let us assume that n is the declared size of the array and m is the number of initializer element. If the declared size of the array is less than the number of initializer element, that is, if n is less than m, then the n elements of the array will be initialized with the first n elements from the list of the initializer elements and the remaining initializer elements will be discarded. In this example, a small array will be initialized with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 will be discarded. If the number of initializer element is less than the declared size of the array, that is, m is less than n, the first m elements of the array will be initialized with the given m elements and the remaining n minus m elements will be initialized to 0. In this example, my big array will be initialized with 1, 2, 3, 4 and 0. By now, we have covered the various styles of declaring an one-dimensional array. Once an array has been declared and defined, we can access or modify its element. The next section deals with the syntax for accessing array elements.